You're listening to the Question and Answer program with our Bible teacher, Dr. J. Vernon McGee. This is a ministry of the Thru The Bible radio network. Now, our first question today comes from a listener in Houston, Texas, who writes about a Christian psychologist. He then asks, why does it seem that your viewpoint of psychologists is not very high? What about the many Christian psychologists?
Let me say that I make a blanket statement every now and then that I do not trust psychologists entirely, and I certainly do not trust godless psychologists, but I do trust a great many Christian psychologists, and they have made, I believe, a very rich contribution to the ministry today of counseling and of helping those that are in need, and especially if it's mental, and if it's mental that probably needs the services of a professional. It's just like when you break your arm, why, you want to go to a doctor that knows how to put your arm back together again and to help you. The same thing would be true if you've got a mental quirk, and many of us have those mental quirks, and it'd be well to go to a man who understood this. And I do not think that the field of psychology is fully developed today. It's, in one sense, more or less of a new subject. In college, my second major was psychology. And I was offered, at the time of my graduation, a scholarship to go to the University of Chicago and work on a doctor's degree and become a psychiatrist or psychologist. And I turned that down because I felt at that time that there were so many shortcomings. That is, there were so many ways that the psychologist was totally helpless in the presence of certain cases. And then I went to a school that did not put the emphasis upon the things that are Christian. And I discovered that there were Christian psychologists and that some of them were doing a great deal of good. And the one that you've mentioned is one of these that does a great deal of good. But there is certain limitation, and I feel that most of the problems that are mental problems, that is, unless it's due to that which is not functional, I think that the spiritual can help every functional malady in the mind. But there, of course, are certain things that are not functional. It's due to some structural basis of the mind and that sort of thing, and that's the one that I think needs expert attention. You need to go certainly to a reliable one, and I'd recommend a Christian one. But I do feel for that emphasis that is spiritual today, that the Word of God should be brought in and used today. I think that the best pill that you can take is the gospel, by the way. And certainly this is a case where it's certainly needed today. So when I make a blanket statement every now and then, which I do, and I do want to make them aware of the danger of the psychologist, that is the non-Christian psychologist, that he is not very helpful. And there's a danger of believing that psychology is the answer to all of the quirks. And it's like the Baptist deacon, he prayed, he said, Lord, make me right the first time, because you know I never changed my mind. And I have certainly changed my mind in reference to the Christian psychologists, that there are many of them that I consider good.